two microphones,
two Amandas,
and some seriously entertaining tales. I'm Amanda Wedekamp.
and I'm Amanda Stanzione.
We know stories connect us all.
And we realized we have a mountain of stories to share. So buckle up,
And brace yourself for a wild ride.
because we've got a lot to say and probably too much to share.
Amanda, Valentine's Day is coming up. What are your thoughts on this holiday? Do you have any fun traditions? Or are you like, I'm over this?
Well, Chris and I have been together for 15 years, so I have to tell you about our very first Valentine's Day. We'd been dating for about 4 or 5 months, and it was a complete production. He came over with cards, and I say cards because Zoe was there, as a single mom.
Now tell us, how old was Zoe at the time?
She was 7. He brought over cards, candy, chocolates, I think maybe a toddler-sized bear. There were balloons. It was nuts. Great, flattered, love to be spoiled, but I definitely thought this guy's got it really bad for me. And I had a conversation with him and said, awesome, but we don't have to do that. Save the money. I really just flowers or maybe a card is good.
I love that, but also I'm not one for the big production. Jim loves to send flowers, and after a while I was like, you need to stop spending that kind of money on Valentine's Day. Like, send me flowers any other day, but I don't want flowers on Valentine's Day because I know the markup is ridiculous.
Spoken like a true over 40 person right there. Markup is ridiculous. So I did tell him there was no need to rent a delivery truck for Valentine's. And pretty much these days we keep it simple. We're pretty straightforward. Maybe dinner in. I'm also very direct. So if I want a gift, I'll say, I would like a gift for Valentine's Day. And he's great with direction. You give him a roadmap, he's fine. So I'll say maybe something shiny, walk into Kendra Scott, pick anything out, I will love it. Or 6.5 size shoe, go anywhere and pick out a pair of wild heels, and he's great. He comes back with some pretty amazing stuff. I've also had my moments because I don't know if you remember years ago on Instagram, there were these ads for send in a picture of your dog and they'll take your dog's face and put it on like a king or a general.
Yes.
And
Love it.
And it was
like
amazing.
A picture on the wall?
Yes.
Yes.
And
yes.
it was on a canvas. Now, it was small. It was only like 8.5 by 11, but it was a great gift, and he still has it on his bookshelf.
So you got that for him?
Absolutely.
For Pepper. Pepper.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Our little Shih Tzu, Pepper. He was so darling cute, and Chris loved it. I also got him a personalized love book once, which is their little cartoon avatars, so it's kind of cute and silly. But it says, all these reasons why I love you. And one of them said, I love you because you have a cute butt. So it just kept it silly. That's kind of our vibe as a couple. It's sometimes it's a little silly, sometimes it's dinner, but nothing crazy over the top since that production the first year.
Right. Well, he was trying to woo you.
And he did a great job.
He did it. It worked.
Because now we've been together for 15 years.
I love it. Okay, that is great. I'm calling this story Plasma Donation Gone Wrong.
I can't wait.
It was 1994. Now, at that time, I was a sophomore in college, so I'm 19 years old, and I go to Indiana University. Shout out to my Hoosiers. If any of you attended Indiana University, you know it is in Bloomington, Indiana, which is considered a small town. How old were you in 1994? So we can get some perspective.
I was 14 in 1994.
Okay, so we're about 5 years apart then.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. See, we don't even know. Isn't that funny?
It's wild, the things you find out.
Yes, yes. I also like to give a little time reference for 1994. So the #1 song
Can't wait.
in the fall of 1994 was Boys to Men, I'll Make Love to You.
Of course it was. I remember that. I loved Boys to Men.
Yes, they are awesome. And the #1 sitcom, I'm sure we can all guess, was Friends.
Of course it was.
So, sophomore in college now, I am living in the dorm. many students live in apartments, such and such, but I lived in the dorms all 4 years.
All 4 years? Why?
Well, that's a story for another day, but
Got
I
it.
did love the dorms, I will be honest. As a sophomore, you really couldn't have your car on campus unless you parked at the stadium, which was pretty far away in terms of like what I believe to be as a college student who tends to
Sure.
be, you know, not wanting to haul to the stadium every single time you want to use your car. And when there were any games or like football games or basketball games, you had to move your car because that was for parking.
Oh yeah. Okay, so not very convenient at
It did
all.
not feel convenient. My hometown was about an hour and a half away, so I'm also not a commuter, right?
Mhm.
I'm living in the dorms. I really wanted my car on campus, and so you could get a guest pass, right? And I was getting guest passes here and there, but at this time I had kind of already hit my maximum amount of guest passes.
Oh, so they limit you on the guest passes.
Yes, because they really want, you know, the guest pass for a guest, not a student.
Yeah, well, of course, that does make sense.
Yes.
Guest pass.
The car I was driving that I so wanted on campus was a 1989 Dodge Shadow Turbo ES manual transmission red.
Very descriptive.
Yes, and I have a picture of me inside my car that we will share on social. Amanda, do you remember your first car?
I do. It was fabulous. It was a 1994 two-door Mustang convertible, teal with white leather interior.
Amazing. One of my dear friends, Heather, she tells me this great idea. She is forging her guest pass for the parking pass.
I do.
So she's whiting it out, changing the dates, and she's like, this totally works.
Okay.
So-
Did it work for you?
So I'm like, I'm going to try this, right? Great idea. Love it. I decide to do it and go out to get my car. My car's not there. I call parking services. They're like, yeah, your guest pass wasn't valid. You have a ticket and we've towed your car.
No.
Yes. So now I have a combined total of fees around $150.
Did you tell your parents this?
Oh, no. I told no one but except maybe my friends, right? My parents were great. They were paying for college. They bought me the car. It was also important to them to institute financial responsibility.
Great lesson.
There was no way I was going to ask them for the money because in their minds, they had given me my allowance for the month and that's all you get, right? You figure it out. So
No job.
I was not working at the time because I didn't have a car on
Great.
campus.
Great point.
And most of the campus jobs were for people who were doing work study.
Okay.
And I wasn't doing work study, so I didn't get an on-campus job. So I was not working at the time. I mean, I worked over the summers, but you know, $150, I end up paying it, right? But I mean, that has wiped me out
Yeah.
totally for the month. And I remember feeling really stressed about what was I going to do.
Yeah.
Cool thing is, my sister is also at Indiana University at this time.
So you told her.
I told her, but
Did she tell your parents?
No, she did not tell my parents.
Okay.
But she is also a graduate student paying her own way now. So our parents were like, you can have, you know, we'll pay for your undergrad degree, but if you want extra schooling, that's going to be on you. So she's paying her way through graduate school. I'm not going to, you know, expect her to help me out.
Yeah. Not asking your older sister for the money.
No. I mean, she would have helped me out, I'm sure, if she had the money, but I just, you know, I wasn't going to go there with that.
Don't even ask her.
Don't even ask her. To give you some reference as well, for $150 in 1994, cool thing is I have been kind of journaling and keeping stats and just, you know, my scrapbooks have a lot of information. So I looked back to my senior scrapbook, which was 1993, and I saw that I wrote down some common prices for things. So a hamburger at the time cost $1.10.
What?
A haircut was $16.
Wow.
My favorite one, concert tickets were $20 to $25.
Which doesn't even compute right now.
No. So think about what that meant $150 was in 1994.
Especially for a college student.
That was a significant fine. I found out that there was something called plasma donation, and you can donate your plasma for money.
I've never done that.
A little like donating blood, except that's volunteer and you're doing that mostly out of the kindness of your heart because you're not getting paid. Plasma donation, you can donate and, you know, they pay you for your plasma. You are rewarded if you come more often because I don't know, science people can correct me on this, but I think the plasma is richer after it's replenished itself.
Oh, yeah, that's something I know zero about.
Yes. I find out about the plasma donation, and of course, I tell Heather about everything that has happened so far. I'm like, look, the plan that you instituted didn't work for me, and I got my car towed and a ticket, and it's to the tune of $150. I tell her that I'm going to go donate plasma to try to earn some money, and she's like, I'll go with you. I'm like, you do not have to, but she's such a kind soul, and she was like, I will go with you.
Did you know anyone else who did this at the time?
No, I knew no one who did this. I think, though, there must have been a special, or the school was really good at advertising this. There were flyers around. Remember, this was before social media, so it had to be in maybe the school newspaper, or flyers were all over college campuses, right, at the time, because the line to donate was out the door.
Oh, sounds like they all needed money. Everybody's getting parking tickets.
Yes, and I can't believe the line was so long. So you had to weigh 110 pounds to donate. And my friend Heather was a skinny mini and didn't weigh enough. So she comes with coins all in her pockets, weighing herself down in order to weigh enough to donate plasma.
I'm loving all of this.
Okay. Meanwhile, we're in line. I see my sister in line.
No.
Yes! This is a pretty big school. There's about 35,000 students. It's not like Julie and I just ran into each other. We would have to make an effort to see each other, right? We did not know the other was coming to donate plasma. We had no idea we were going to run into each other.
Did you both look really embarrassed?
We were both surprised and embarrassed, and I was just like, well, got that fine. In the toe, and she's like, well, I'm a grad school paying my way.
Makes sense.
So the three of us are kind of in line together because we kind of want to, you know, be next to each other in the beds, basically. They're like hospital beds, and, you know, you've got your arm. So
yeah, you need some backup, some support.
Exactly. I don't want to be alone. And I mean, this is a community plasma donation center, so it doesn't have to be college students, right? It's anyone who's looking for money. Yeah. And so
not doing something out of the kindness of their heart, but looking for money.
True.
Perfect.
I mean, that's what I'm guessing. That's why I was there. And okay, so they take us back and we get all set up. Now, plasma donation, you know, works like this. Basically, you have an IV or whatever we're going to call it. I'm not a nurse or anything, in your arm. The blood and, you know, all of the blood is coming out of your arm. The plasma and the blood are separated.
Are you seeing this like through a tube happen?
Yes, you're seeing it kind of divert into two different sections.
I think I would pass out.
And then your blood is circulating with saline, and they're pumping that back into your body. Okay. So they're separating out the plasma, and then the blood is pumping back into your body.
But you don't need... That seems so wild to me. You took out blood and plasma, but you're only putting back in the blood. So what, do you replenish plasma?
Yes, and it's the blood and the saline coming back, and then yes, your body's going to replenish the plasma. That's why the second time you go, it's really rich plasma because like it's fresh plasma.
Okay,
now,
that makes sense. Yep.
Of course, if you know better and you're out there and you want to tell us we're totally wrong, because this is what I remember it to be.
Sure.
But again, it was 1994. That was quite some time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all hooked up. We're just chit-chatting, and, you know, the system is going, and all of a sudden, my friend Heather looks over, and she's like, I think we have a problem. And I look down, and my blood is pooling on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
Supposed to be going back to my body.
So you're losing blood and plasma and not replenishing your body with blood.
Correct.
So they needed to have been paying you a whole lot of money.
Yes. So something with the setup went terribly, terribly wrong. We're still not sure what exactly went wrong, but I just know I look over and I'm like, hi, I need some help. There's like, my blood is on the floor. My sister Julie's freaking out. My friend Heather's freaking out. We stop. We are just like, we're not doing this anymore.
And you can just stop mid donation?
Yes, because basically, I mean, they're not going to take any more out, which is because I'm like, it's not coming back into me.
Right.
I need this.
Right. I need my own blood back.
Exactly. So I asked my sister the other week, because we were kind of remembering the story together. I said, do you remember if we got paid? She's like, I actually don't remember. Like, I bet we did not.
Probably
because
not.
We didn't finish the donation.
Yeah, you probably didn't get paid.
Right.
Okay. And you lost blood that you didn't get back.
Yes. Luckily, your body does replenish, red blood cells.
You probably needed some orange juice after you left.
Truth. 100%. And I'm sure it was the gross kind that you shake. And it was nasty with the foil lid. Remember that kind?
That you get in the hospital.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes. The story doesn't end here.
Oh, can't wait.
It gets better. About a week later, Heather calls me and she said, I think I have a problem. And I said, what's going on? She's like, well, the Plasma Donation Center called me and there's something wrong with my blood work.
No.
Mm-hmm. So obviously she had donated enough for them to test it and potentially donate it out.
So maybe Heather got paid.
Correct. I don't remember even.
Right.
I say to her, I'm like, well, what do you think the problem is? And she's like, I think I have AIDS.
Why would she think that?
I know. And I'm like, okay, what? Now, saying AIDS seems probably odd because now we call it HIV. But in 1994, AIDS was the way that I remember us referencing it. And I specifically remember her saying, I think I have AIDS.
Because now HIV, then you get AIDS. That's what, And back then it was just AIDS.
Yes, it was just AIDS. And it was one of the #1 killers of people, 30 to 50 at that time.
Everyone was
Very
terrified.
big deal.
Absolutely.
Very big deal. So she says, I think I have AIDS. And I'm like, very confused because Heather and I, we were pretty green, okay? We weren't doing IV drugs. As far as I knew, we weren't getting jiggy with it.
Jiggy with
With
amazing.
Anyone, let alone just random, right?
Right. Random enough to potentially give you AIDS.
Right. I'm like, why do you think you have AIDS? And she said, well, I got jiggy with it with Tim on the roof of the dorm.
Were you shocked?
And I'm like, what is happening? We're not doing that. We don't get jiggy with it yet.
We're not those girls.
No. And she was like, well, that was what I wanted to do, but now I think I have AIDS. I'm like, okay. #1, I'm like, I'm sure you don't have AIDS. But #2, I'm like, why didn't you use protection?
Right.
I'm very concerned.
And do we know if Tim has been out and about, a man of the town?
I didn't even know Tim very well, so I'm just concerned.
Okay.
So she has to go in to the donation center. Honestly, I can't remember if I went in with her or not. I feel like I would have or offered to go. I don't have a memory of it, and maybe they wouldn't have let me go.
Yeah.
But
if you weren't immediate family, they may not have let you go.
Exactly. Turns out she didn't have AIDS, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. She had hepatitis A.
Ooh, what do you do for hepatitis A?
You get medicine. I know that. It is treatable. Here's how she got that.
I was about to ask Tim.
From getting jiggy with it with Tim. In the summer of that year, I think August, she went to the Woodstock Festival in upstate New York.
Did you go with her?
No, I did not go with her. But the crazy thing is, as I was looking through my scrapbooks, I have the brochure from this festival. So I must have asked her for it because, again, I am someone who keeps lots of journaling things.
And you didn't go, so she would have probably given it to you.
Yes, I don't know how else I would have this. But I have the festival, brochure. It's very detailed in pages. I will share it on our socials. You get hepatitis A from dirty water. And I mean, people doing certain things in the water, like using the bathroom.
Yuck.
Mm-hmm. The Woodstock Festival in 1994 was actually nicknamed the Mud Fest because they had torrential downpours.
Disgusting.
And it was super gross. And, you know, people were like playing in the mud and sliding in the mud and just mud covered, and it was real nasty.
Nasty.
But thank goodness Heather had hepatitis A and not AIDS. But can you imagine, this was my experience with donating plasma.
Insane.
Yeah. And my sister, Heather, and I have never donated plasma again.
I was going to say, moral of the story, Amanda, do not donate plasma, basically.
Yeah. So we've never donated again, and I had to find different ways to earn money.